You talk about going one end of the spectrum to the next. Is you go from damn Savannah Chrisley in those pictures to Amy Schumer. Oh, Lord have mercy. God bless. Saints Bucks. First game of the year. Tom Brady, new team. How's he going to react? How are the Saints going to play? A lot of distractions. Drew Brees simultaneously is somehow part of Black Lives Matter while also somehow standing for the flag. I'm not really sure what's going on there. There's a lot happening in this game. No fans. First time in NFL history a game has been started by two quarterbacks over the age of 40 years old. I think Mike Evans has come up with a leg injury. What I expect to happen in this game is I think you're going to see two teams start off pretty slow. I think you're going to see the Saints start off kind of slow. The Saints are pretty bad in general to start the season. The Saints are like 2-10 or something in their first couple of games in the last few years, like 6-7 years. They're not good in those first two games. It's been a trend with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. I would not expect that changes here, and I don't know why. I honestly don't know what the reason is for that trend, because you have a great coach and a great quarterback, and they just can't figure out in the first two games. So to think that the Saints are going to come out here and just blow away the Buccaneers, who are a good team, I think would be a lot. The Saints predominantly survive off their home field advantage, but you're not going to see any home field advantage. How does that affect the Saints? I say, if anything, it's an advantage to the Buccaneers to be able to play in front of no one. There's not going to be any fans there. So the dome is completely empty. It's going to be very quiet, I would think. So if you eliminate the home field advantage, these are two teams that are pretty similar. I think the Saints are still the better team. I think the Buccaneers are generally overrated. If you're looking at the Bucs, so how good is Tom Brady? I think that's the first question. How good is Tom Brady? Now, one thing we know from his career is that back against the wall, you don't bet against Tom Brady. He shows up in pressure-packed situations. He shows up in huge games. He shows up in Super Bowls and playoffs and comebacks and whatever else. So Tom Brady with a chip on his shoulder is a dangerous, dangerous man. Dangerous man. There's no doubt about that. Tom Brady is very dangerous in this spot. But are we going to see a full Buccaneers squad? I think no. The Buccaneers, the teams right now with this whole COVID situation, the teams like the Bucs who've got changes everywhere, they're going to need a few weeks. They're going to need a few weeks to figure themselves out. Tom Brady's going to need a few weeks to figure out his personnel. Leonard Fournette's going to need a few weeks to just figure out the plays. Bruce Arians is going to need a few weeks to figure out Tom Brady, vice versa. So we're going to see a Bucs team that I don't think is fully ready. I don't think is fully at their highest peak. At their highest peak, I think they're probably a double-digit win playoff team, wild card-esque team. But when is that peak going to be? Like week 6? Something like that? More than likely. So I think we're going to see a really close game here because both teams are going to start slow. We're going to see a competitive game. It's a divisional game. I'm looking at something, but I think the idea of a shootout, the idea of Brees versus Brady, the idea of high-powered Buccaneers, high-powered Saints, I think that is not going to be a thing. So I'm thinking we're way closer to, Saints 23, something like that, and Bucks 20, somewhere in that universe of relatively low scoring, pretty boring game, not a lot of turnovers, not a lot of short passes, a lot of feeling each other out, and then that'll be about it. So I think the Saints get away with a win, but I think you're looking at a tighter game and a slower paced game than we would maybe would have expected. Like the over/under is 48. I think that's a little high. I'd be looking lower. I'd be looking in the low 40s. So I'm thinking we're going to see an under type game here. The spread, Buccaneers plus 3.5. I think this is factoring in home field. I really do. I think that the home field is still being factored in. If the Saints home field is 2 to 3 points, then this like if you take away that, this has to be factored in, where this is all of a sudden Saints minus 1.5, Saints minus 2, depending on how much it's not factored in and how much it should be. Like, I'm guessing this has not been touched. I'm guessing this is what the line would be if the stadium was full. So if this is what the line would be if the stadium was full, and now it's not full at all, this has to change. Like, this is way too much. And let's just say that, oh, well, they have done it, right? They've taken that into account. Okay, so you're telling me that the Saints are like a 5? This would normally be Saints -5, Saints -5.5, somewhere in there. Saints -6. That's crazy to give Tom Brady that many points. So if I was betting on this game, I'd be taking Buccaneers +3.5. I'd be taking the under. This game will tell us a lot about Tampa. I think the book is still out on Tampa. I think it's too early. I think the Buccaneers are a really, really good team on paper, right? You hear Tom Brady, you hear Leonard Fournette, you hear Mike Evans, you hear all these players, but how impactful can those players possibly be with no preseason, no OTAs, no training camp, no games under their belt, nothing? Leonard Fournette's been in Tampa for literally a week. So his game is Sunday. This is Friday. You're talking about like he's going to be in Tampa for less than 2 weeks. Has he even seen the playbook? How many plays can he actually run? You know, he's not used to his offensive line at all. Tom Brady, same deal. Tom Brady's playing with all new players. Before he'd be able to look at Julian Edelman, and Julian Edelman would give him a head nod or something, and they know what page they're on. Mike Evans isn't there yet. You know, these players aren't there yet. I think moving forward they could be. Certainly. I think in week 7, week 8, week 9, they could definitely be there. But I don't think they can be there in week 1. Evans might not even play. Yeah, Evans might not even play. Like, Mike Evans may not even be there. Like, he may not even be available. So Godwin is more the guy for Tom, possibly, but it's still it's going to take time. When you're talking about a locker room going from Jameis Winston to Tom Brady, that's a big difference. That's a big difference in how your team plays. I heard that Tom Brady is going to basically call the offense, and Bruce Arians is going to take a back seat to Brady. That's just word on the street from inside sources. They're saying that the offense is going to run basically how Brady wants it to run. So if that's the case, then the entire team is learning a new offense. Because if it was Bruce Arians' system, then at least the rest of the team knows how to do it, and Brady would have to learn his system. But if it's Brady's system, you're talking about every other player except Gronk, kinda, has to learn that new system, including Bruce Arians. So I think the Buccaneers might be the #1 team affected by COVID and affected by the shortened preseason, the shortened training camp, and all that stuff. So I think we're going to see that. And the Saints, it's a tough first game for sure. The Saints have their own issues, like I said before. You're going to see a lot of distractions. Who do y'all think the camera's going to be on before the national anthem? I'll give you a hint. Drew Brees. Drew Brees and the Saints already don't play good to open the season. They already have problems early in the year. And now you have all these distractions. Now you have no fans. Now you have all that stuff. So, very slow start, in my opinion. I think the Saints should win. This is a game the Saints almost have to win. Because the Buccaneers are going to be tougher later on. You're getting the Buccaneers at their absolute weakest, in my opinion. So, again, I'll say my prediction 23-20 Saints. Easy clap.